Okay, so I wanted to talk about these shamanic dreams that I had. So I'll start with the most recent one. So last night, and I'll mention a couple other elements in the dream, but I want to talk about the animal medicine first. Animal totem medicine, the shamanic journey part of the dream. So I was talking to this woman. I was kind of like, it was kind of like how a creek is, and there's two banks, one on, she was kind of down a little bit, like on the bank, like a little lower than I was, like she was not in the creek, but like more closer to the creek, and I was up on like the path on one bank, and then there's, the bank across from me, and we were just having a heartfelt conversation, and she was just kind of talking about like a friend of hers or something or other, and I mentioned my sister, how I lost my sister and stuff, because her birthday slash death anniversary, because she died on her birthday, overdosed, I would say, not just died, but that was the 18th. So I believe that was that Sunday? Yeah. So, and it was 7 years. Okay, and I kept getting 777 lately, and anyway. So we just had that heartfelt exchange. That sisterly love and of the divine feminine, just sharing our heart. It wasn't a sad cry. It was just like honoring, what we've been through or whatever. And what those people had been through. She was, I can't remember exactly who she was. She was talking about like a friend of hers or something like that, and so it made me talk about my sister, another, a female in my life that I loved, and so we were connecting in that way. And it was in the morning, like not too early because the sun was out, but it wasn't like noon. It was pretty brisk, And so all of a sudden I'm on the pathway. Well, I think I got distracted. Something caught my attention while I was talking to her. These birds flying around. Well, this one in particular, and it kind of there was like a bridge like higher up that went across like a walkway, like a catwalk kind of a thing, or like a car bridge or something that went perpendicular to like the creek and the little two side banks where we were at. And it flew around a couple times, caught my attention, and went and flew up and perched on the edge of the bridge there. And so I could see it very distinctly. It looked like a huge crow, like a giant ancient crow. Like not like the size they are now, like huge, like almost like the size of like a dog, not like a Saint Bernard, but like a, like a medium-sized dog, like pretty good sized bird, okay? Big bird. And black and shiny. But the way it was perched, it had its back towards me so I could see its markings. And see, it had like this long kind of tail. Like a crow does, but it was like more extended, accentuated. And it had like markings on it, kind of like a butterfly would, down on its, lower part of its back, like where the tail extension was, and so it was like rainbow colors, kind of like how black will, like if the sun's hitting it just right, it kind of gives off like this iridescence, but it was definitely distinct markings too. So it was huge black crow with like pheasant, like when I woke up I'm like pheasant crow, and so I guess there's an actual bird, pheasant crow, but the ones that I saw images of online, it didn't really look like that. But so there is a bird called pheasant crow, I guess, so according to what I googled, and so pheasant crow. So I just laid down on the pathway, and then just remember feeling the sun and the sun shining on me, and I just laid there and laid still, and it flew down to me. And as soon as it just flew right up to me, like it just knew it was just coming right to me on purpose. And its presence was just like, whew, I could feel the energy of this bird was strong, good energy. And it let me hug it and stroke its back. I just remember how thick and plush and lush and silky. It was real silky. I remember everything very vividly. Not just the visual and not just the feeling I got, but like the actual sensation of the touch. How like thick and big, all the feathers together, how plush it was, and how silky, super, super silky. And so as I was like embracing it and stroking it, there was about a dozen or more birds across the creek. On the other side of the bank there was a tree, and it was like winter time, because it was pretty chilly, and we were all like in jackets, and the woman I was talking to was wearing like a hat and stuff, and I had like a big coat on, and the tree didn't have any leaves on it, and so it represented the now, okay, and they all started cawing, but not like a warning caw. It was just like, oh, like they could feel the energy of the exchange that I was having with this bird. They could feel it over there, and they were just like, caw, 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 caw. Not like, not like a warning thing. It was very much like they could feel that good energy, and they caw, caw, caw. And they were all kind of doing it together, and there must have been like over a dozen birds in that tree, of the same kind of bird that I was connecting with. And then and then I didn't realize till later it was giving me intuitively this message, okay, that I needed to know. So this dark energy, like he was walking his dog or something, he seemed like a scraggly old, like dark-haired, like older, like homeless dude, white dude, and like had a dog, like a dark dog too or something. He started holding that bird by its throat, but see, the bird wasn't making any sound. It wasn't hurting. See, that's the thing about demonic spirits and you know, low vibrational energies. They will push the boundary as far as they can, but they know that you're untouchable. Especially when you're in the spirit realm, because you're just pure spirit when you're traveling in the astral. So they can't physically harm you as far as like making you feel physical pain or taking anything from you or forcing you to take something from them. They can't penetrate you. Okay, so your force field's protected, but they will push that boundary. Okay, it's like a pin, like pushing on a balloon. I just got this mental image right now. It's like a pin pushing on a balloon, but it will only go so far before it pops. Okay, it'll push as far as it can push without it popping. Okay, that's what these demonic energies, and they're really on like high alert right now. So it's holding the dude's, you know, this demonic, the way it manifested itself was, you know, a man, a scraggly old, you know, dark-haired, like homeless kind of dude or whatever, like messed up from drugs, like just that kind of, you can tell by looking at people, they just had the hard life, you know. So it was like holding it by its throat, holding the bird by its throat, and I remember like kind of getting angry, but like it dissipated really fast. Like fear, anger, like it was like a blip, and I went right into just asking him a question. Why are you doing that? And every time he would respond, he would back further and further away. Like the first time I asked him, why are you doing that, then he let go, and he was like, he was speaking in English, but it's kind of like when someone's like under the influence of drugs, they just are not making sense. It's totally unintelligible. And as I just kept repeating that same question, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? See, the devil demons, these dark energies. See, God is rational, okay? God has common sense. God is rational. The devil is not. Okay, that's why we get confused. All this, okay, when we're dealing with these dark energies, it's confusing because there's no rhyme or reason. There's no rationale. There's no common sense. They're not rational. Okay. So he never had an answer. He was like trying to say words, but I wasn't understanding. Okay, trying to confuse me. But I didn't care if I couldn't understand what he was saying. I kept asking the same question. Why are you doing that? I think the first time it was like, what are you doing? I just kept saying, why are you doing that? And see, they don't have an answer, because the answer would mean that they would have some kind of reason. Okay, they're not reasonable. They're totally without reason, totally void of reason. So every time I said that, why are you doing that? Why did you do that? He just kept getting quieter and quieter and back further and further away until he just dissipated and it was just gone. And so I believe that the pheasant crow, and I still got to research it a little bit, but pretty much crows represent that divine, ancient, that intuition, that gut, that instinct, that deep knowing that you have. Like, you don't need anyone to explain it to you, and you can't really explain it yourself. And then pheasant is kind of like, well, it represents sexuality and sensuality and abundance and like hide and seek, concealment. Okay. So put the two together, and I still got to I want to research it more. I found a totem website that just has all just like birds from A to Z, and it's just all birds. I'll try to I'll put that link in the description box, and a couple other I mean, you could just look up shamanic stuff or animal totems and a bunch will pop up, but there's a couple that I really like that I've used before. So but this one just has all birds. I'll try to make sure I put that one on the first one on the list. But so that art of concealment, okay, like being invisible, being shielded, okay, it's a form of protection and shielding, concealment. It's very interesting because one of my sisters, I don't want to talk about twin flames and all that, but she's one, and I think she's like the only one, maybe there's two, that actually talk about, no, she's pretty, she like focuses on twin flames and stuff, but it's like, it's different. Like, and a couple other brothers that I'm subscribed to, my soul family, they're twin flames, but they don't, go into twin flame stuff, but they just are twin flames, and they're with their twin flame and everything. But because I'm anything that's just solely has to do with twin flame, I'm over it. I'm not even watching those videos anymore. If it's twin flame in the title of their channel, I'm just steering clear of all that. It's just a distraction, because the real mission is beyond the subject of twin flame itself. Okay, so I'm not even going to mention that anymore. We're done with that subject. Moving on. We're not done. I mean, I am what I am, and I know who my twin flame is. It's not about that, okay? I'm in surrender. It's just there's God's using me right now, and so I'm just trying to obey God and serve God and serve the Lord and do what I'm told. So this is what I'm being told to do, to move on past that subject. So that's what I'm doing. So also another message was untouchable. Because, and especially when we're in the astral, we're just pure spirit. Okay? And your spirit is untouchable. It cannot be created nor destroyed. It is eternal, just like God. There was no advent of God, and you are in the image of God in the flesh, yes, but there was no advent of you either. We are as one. With God, we are eternal. There was no beginning and end. We are the Alpha and the Omega, just like God. That's what the spirit is, okay? It's a droplet from the mother droplet. Well, when we talk about coalescence, they refer to it as mother and daughter droplet, and then the mother droplet, okay? Small droplets come together to form a bigger and bigger and bigger droplet, and they coalesce back into the mother droplet. That's the coalescence. So it's like holographic or fractal. Every little small droplet contains everything that the mother droplet contains, okay? So we are eternal beings. Our spirit is eternal. So this untouchable, okay? You can be persuaded and dissuaded, and that's all of the flesh. But the spirit is untouchable. It cannot be created nor destroyed. So there's no... If you know that you are the spirit, you let your spirit guide you, the great spirit and God, and know that that is contained within you, which is the soul, which is the spirit. You know that you're untouchable. It's only when we're in the flesh that we can be, if we allow ourselves to be led by the flesh, then yes, we can be dissuaded, persuaded, distracted, manipulated. Okay, so when we're in the flesh and we let the flesh guide us, we're ego-based. Okay? And the ego has to do with fear and better than, less than, and a different kind of love that's of the flesh and not eternal and etheric and unconditional. And a couple other, so I kind of went off a little bit with the animal totem thing there, but it's just, I go where God guides me. So a couple other things I want to mention from that dream. I'm trying to not make it too long here, but abundance was a big message. One of my oldest friends that I've known since preschool, she was in this part of the dream, and there was a couple other people that were there that were just good souls, good, loving, heart-centered spirit. I think it was a couple, or they may have been brother or sister. It doesn't matter. We're all brothers and sisters. So she was picking these things off the vine, and I stepped outside and I looked at this vine, and I knew it was grapevine, but they were huge, and they were single solitary grapes, not like in a cluster, but it was a vine, like growing up in like this arbor thing, and these huge big purple grapes hanging down, but just one, like a peach would be hanging on a tree, like that. And they're all different sizes, but they were all big, you know, so you could see like one was maturing and getting bigger and bigger. But even the smallest ones, they were huge, abundant, and dark, deep purple. And the purple flesh, fruits, vegetables, and herbs contain a lot of this monoatomic gold. And the biggest one on the furthest part of the vine, so to my left, was like a golden, it was the biggest one, and it was golden colored, and it looked like a melon. And she actually took some of these grapes, like cut it in half like a melon, and scooped it all up, but then left it in the shell. And it was like how grapes are on the inside. It's kind of like gelatinous, sort of, you know what I mean? And I was just amazed by how huge they were. And the most ripe one, the biggest one, was golden colored. So, what's the other element in my dream that I wanted to share? Well, I know for sure there was, you know, baby daddy came into my dream, and I recognized who he was. And he just kind of wanted to follow me around, observe me and stuff. He didn't try to talk to me even, like, let alone anything else. He didn't even try to talk to me. But he was there, and I recognized him. And he recognized me, but he didn't try to approach me or anything like that. So I just felt this, like, sense of forgiveness and release of fear. That I don't need to fear him. He's not a threat to me anymore. I don't need to hate him. I don't need to hold resentment towards him. And when I was in this enclosure, like in this house, but it was like open, the door was open, and he was standing there in the doorway. And I thought of like, should I be afraid? Because he's just like right there staring at me, you know? But I was like down on the side of the couch. There was like a couch there, and my brother was laying on it, like kind of sitting up but laying down, and I was just like knelt down beside him, like sitting on the floor, and we were just like, not even there was no there's not a lot of talking that goes on in my dreams. It's just all telepathic, you know, because you're in spirit. You don't need to use your voice. That's flesh. Even though I will hear words like messages from God, it'll, you know, because you know, when I need to research something in the flesh, I need a word to something to, you know, catapult me in the right direction and go on my trail of breadcrumbs, you know. And my brother is a Taurus. And I remember in the dream someone was saying, "Oh, your brother's mean, he's an asshole." I'm like, I know he is. Because, you know, we've had our issues or whatever, but we've also been like two peas in a pod. So that Taurus, I'm like, I know, because he's a Taurus, he's the bull. That's what I remember telling this woman. And it's kind of like jumbled up. I don't know which happened first or whatever, but I remember maybe that happened after he was like laying there, because that was the message I was supposed to get, that he was right there, that energy of the bull protecting me. Even though he didn't have to do anything, he was totally at ease and relaxed. And that's also the message from the pheasant crow, is that we're untouchable, we're impenetrable, because we are spirit eternal. We are not of the flesh, only just for a blip. But if we let the spirit guide us, and that portion of the spirit that's been put in us, that is the reflection of God, we need not fear anything. Because when you're eternal, there's nothing to fear. What is there to fear? Nothing. You're eternal, you're untouchable, you're impenetrable. So we didn't have to fight. That was the thing. Like, I didn't have to fight back. I didn't have to... you fight back when you're afraid. When you don't feel that fear, there's no fighting necessary. You just have this deep inner knowing that you are untouchable and impenetrable. So he kept his distance. And I just knew if he tried to do something or make a move towards me or start trying to, you know, verbally harass me, this, that, or whatever, that my brother was right there. So I didn't have to fear anything. But the thing is that I have that energy in me. And I'm a Capricorn, I'm an earth sign, so is my brother Taurus. But you think of a bull, strong like bull, you know? So we have that. That's our spirit. We need not be afraid. So therefore we need not fight back. You only defend yourself when you're afraid. So there was no defense necessary. And when these dark energies, demonic spirits, whatever you want to call them, try to come at you, all you need to do is ask them a question. And they cannot answer, okay? You don't have to fight back. Just say, "What are you doing?" And just keep repeating that question over and over. We got about 6 minutes left on here. Okay, so try to wrap it up quickly. So try that in your dream. Okay, first you need to recognize it as a malevolent spirit, not a benevolent spirit. Okay, you need to recognize that it is a dark energy, a demon, what have you. So the first thing is the recognition, okay, the discernment of who's with the light, who's with the dark, and have that clear distinction. And you'll know, you'll just know in your gut, okay? They don't even have to be doing anything, they, you know. And I rebuke them every night, all incubi, succubi, everything, you know, I do my whole protection prayer before I go to sleep. But they've been pushing the boundaries pretty hard. They'll like, I know it's a little bit graphic, but one was like embodying the physical form of my twin, but it was not my twin. It was a dark energy, all bent over, like showing me his asshole, touching his asshole and shit. And then another one, you know, that I didn't recognize as any person I ever knew, like was trying to lay across my chest. I was like laying on a bed, and then he like licked my finger. Okay, so as soon as that happened, and then I saw, you know, touching his ass, bent over, touching his asshole and shit, I knew, I'm like, bam, done. And then they were just gone, disappeared. I was sitting up, they weren't there. So they will push the boundaries as far as they possibly can. I had another one sniff my hand in a dream, okay? And they can look like angels, blonde hair, blue eyes, beautiful skin. Okay, so you just know from the feeling that you get, okay? Not what it looks like. And that's the discernment. So once you recognize, then you just ask the question, what are you doing? You don't need to fight. You don't need to protect. You are protected. Just ask that question, and they will dissipate and disappear. Alright, so we'll leave it at that. I tried to just do it for like 15 minutes, and it ended up being like almost 30 minutes again, so. But I hope these go out to the people that need to hear them. And so I'll leave it at that for now, and I gotta get up and do some things, and then I'll do a recording of the dream I had about the white dog, and a little synchronicity with this movie here that had a white, it was specifically a white Labrador Retriever, white, not golden, tan, white, all pure white, and how it led me to the quarry. So I will leave it there. Love and blessings to you all, and peace be upon you all.